Welcome to the Lion's Den, a place you will find men just talking. This is episode 6 of season 2. I hope you had a chance to watch the other 5 episodes. Really good dynamic information out there. It all talks about taking control of your mind, body, and soul. That's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we live long, healthy lives. Just imagine getting up every day with purpose and the energy to get through your day. Everybody is alive, but not everyone lives. Today I have 2 kings with me. One of them I knew, when I was around age 11. The other I met just going through my travels in Delaware. Clayton, why don't you introduce yourself for me?
Hi, everybody. My name is Clayton Jefferson from Charleston, South Carolina. Like Raynard said, that we grew up together, went to the same high school, classmates, and this is definitely a pleasure being here and fellowshipping with the brothers. In the book of Psalms 133, it says, "Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity." So,
Amen.
This is a good time for us to fellowship with one another and get some feedback and learn a little bit more about life itself.
Yes. Now, I moved to South Carolina from Bronx, New York. Shout out to 173rd and Clay. Clayton was one of the first people I met down there. I started it was 6th grade when I met him. It was a school, Janie Moore. We used to be there every day playing basketball. Every day. So we were friends throughout middle and high school. And again, you can see him here today, so we're still friends. Ed, would you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Eli Isabel. I am originally from a little town called Turo, Arkansas. Population of 600 now. In its heyday, we ran about 11, 12. People have moved out, you know what I mean? I've been here in Delaware for about 34 years, give or take.
Wow.
So yeah, man, I am also the host of the Still Country podcast. You can catch us every other Thursday night at 8 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes. Now, I met Eli playing basketball, pickup basketball, and we just meet each other and see each other out on, out roundabout in Delaware, and we just say what's up. Now, it took me years. I actually just found out his name maybe 3 years ago because we just walk around saying, "Oh, that's my man."
Yeah, what's up, baby?
That's our brothers in act. We don't need names. We just know that's my man.
Right.
That's
For real.
my man. Yeah. So yeah, man, and again, he has the Still Country podcast.
Yep.
And when I saw it out there, I said, this is a chance for us to cross-pollinate. Let's try to get our messages out, through the masses, feeding off of each other.
Right.
And I use the term cross-pollinate because I was on social media one day and I saw a clip where there were these bees. And one bee got caught in a spider web. All of the other bees came together and helped him escape from that, from the web. Now, he escaped from the web, but now we need to be more like that, where each of us help one another. Right. If you're caught in the web, trust me, I'll be there to help you out of that web.
Wow.
So that was a great thing, and that gave me the idea of the cross-pollination. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'm your host, Raynard. Let's just dive in. What were the deciding factors that led you guys, to jump into the careers that you chose?
Well, for me, coming out of high school, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go to college or I joined the military. So I made the choice of joining the military. After about the first 4 or 5 years in the military, I started progressing through the ranks at a very fast pace. And at that point, I knew it wasn't time for me to turn back. There was no turning back. Ended up doing 22 years in the military, traveled abroad to Italy, Germany twice, Korea once, probably in and out of Fort Hood, Texas area 4 times, Fort Stewart, Georgia, Alaska, and my last stop here in Maryland at the Aberdeen Proving Ground, where I retired. So I knew at that point in time life was going to be different for me. Being in the military, sometimes, like I told my kids, that you are sheltered because you're not used to some of the things that actually goes on in the outside world, as we call it. You are military baby, military brat, a term that frequently used because you go into a Dodge school, you're not used to some of the things that other kids are accustomed to. It's because you're sheltered, living on post around other military members and military families. So I knew at that point this was going to be my life.
Yep. Thank you for your service, my brother.
Yeah, for sure.
Proud to
Wow,
serve.
awesome.
Now,
Yeah.
I remember when we were about to leave high school, we all took those classes and we went into the room. Each of the military groups were there, recruiters were there, you know, and I knew for me, it wasn't going to happen. But it got me out of class. But it wasn't going to happen. I was like, wait a minute, you going to tell me when to get up, when to eat? I mean, for everybody, to each his own. I don't knock anyone, but I knew I wasn't going to succeed. Yeah, go ahead, Eli.
For me, so I'm in mental health. I work with adolescents, and I've just really started venturing into the adult therapy. So I want to kind of transition at some point. But I've been working with kids since 1995.
Wow.
That's been my passion, working in the community and working with African American males, young boys, and trying to just, you know, whatever I can give them from a mental health perspective, and just from being a black man perspective, I want to do that. I ended up here because as a kid, I saw my mom. She was a helper. She helped the elderly in our community. If somebody needed to go get their medicine from the drugstore or grocery shopping, she would always, you know, small town, you take care of the old people.
Right.
She would take, and I saw her always helping. And I think I got that helping spirit from her. And mine, I initially went to school to be a teacher. So I came to, it was called Wilmington College back then, Wilmington U. I played ball there. And so my second year, the coach got fired, and then we got a new guy. He came in and made us all trial for the team. He came in, my playing time was whack. I quit not thinking, oh, I got this little stipend, I'm gonna lose that. So I lost my money, and you know, we couldn't really afford me to pay. Just my ego, you know, young and dumb. And so I was majoring in elementary ed, and I had an internship it was Bancroft. It's a new school now. Lord have mercy. I was in the 6th grade class with this English teacher named Mr. Waters. He was like, all right, I'm going to leave you in here alone. You know, I had the lesson plan, I had everything. He says, run the class. Man, them kids I'm not a big guy. So I'm in there with 6th graders who are my size already. And now if you know anything about the old Bancroft, it's on the east side, and the neighborhood, the school is right in the neighborhood. Like, so these kids started cursing and tripping. They was like, my uncle F you up. He'll be outside when school is out in the parking lot. I was like, I said, I don't know if I'm gonna do this right here. So I ended up changed my major and went into counseling. And then like 20 years later, I went back and finally got my master's degree. So it's just the helping spirit, man. And due to me quitting basketball, I ended up in the reserves so I could come back and finish. So I did Fort Jackson. I had basic training down there. So I had 6 years in the reserve. And here's the one thing I regret not just staying in. And here's the thing about, I guess, when you don't know, you don't know. I never had anybody in my family retire from anything, says, hey, keep going, do this. This will happen. And when you're 24, 25, you're not thinking about a pension. You know what I mean? Nobody could explain that to me and make it make sense. All I knew is on the weekends I had drill, it was a party going on that I wanted to be at. So, you know, just young and dumb, man. I wish stuff that I'm imparting on my children now, like stay the course. You know what I mean?
Stay the course.
Man, there are a couple of things that you said there that really resonated, because a part of what I'm doing here is a holistic approach to men's health. And mental health is one of the biggest issues that we face in our society, because one, you're taught not to show your emotions. You're taught not to, you can't cry. You can't do this, you can't do that. You have to be the strong one, you know, but that's unrealistic. You know?
Yep. And I will say, I'm going to say the last 10, 15 years, we have, African Americans as a whole have gotten better about seeking therapy. Right. Now, there was a time where, you figure, look, we've stood on the rights. I mean, we've stood on the backs of our grandparents who went through civil rights.
Yeah.
Who, great who went through slavery. We're strong. Like, we are naturally strong. We don't need that. But if you need it, you need it. And it's not, you're not soft or weak. Right, saying you need it. I try to stress that, especially to adult black men. The kids I work with, they're kind of forced into it because of some things they've done. But the adults like, bro, it's okay. Like,
well, I mean, we're strong in the sense that we'll get up and go and do what needs to be done to be done. But we don't check in on ourselves.
We suffer on the inside.
Yeah, and that's the thing that really needs to come out, because it is going to come out, and it comes out in several ways. It comes out in anger, comes out in stress. And what does stress do? Stress is like one of the major things that screws up your body. You know? Yeah. So that's where it is. There's this song. It was Darius Rucker and Dak or Hack or something like that. A man. And that song, it talks and I'll play it for us later, but it talks about just being a man. And not getting what you need, but always giving others what they need.
Right, right.
And sacrificing yourself for everyone else.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's the way we're designed. That's how we're grown up. You fall and hurt yourself, get up, boy. Don't cry.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Real men don't cry.
Yeah, we're taught to suppress those feelings early.
Yeah.
Early.
Yeah, and then so we become adults.
Yeah.
We're no good for our children because we're repeating the pattern. And we're no good for our woman because now we don't know how to communicate and hold it all in. So,
Right.
No. It has ramifications way far beyond falling on the playground when you fall.
Exactly. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And they making you get up and stop crying.
Right.
And that's the thing. My father-in-law told me, communication, 9/10 of the law. You got to be able to communicate.
Yes.
And effective communication is what it's all about.
And one of the things that we end up doing is when something attacks us, instead of actually articulating what our feelings are, we sort of become more introspective, more quiet, more, we check out.
Yeah.
Right.
And that in itself is a problem. Express yourself, but you don't have to be angry, but you do have to express yourself.
You gotta let it out.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, what do you think about a platform that caters to men's health, physical, mental, and spiritual?
Need it. Absolutely. Like you said, men are, when you in your house with your wife, your children, you're last. Your needs are met last, whether it be mental, physical, emotional. Your needs are met last. So a platform that will give us the opportunity to kind of reshape who we are is definitely needed. Now we have to take advantage of it.
Right.
But it's needed.
Yeah.
We are last.
Yeah, we are last. Now they think they're pacifying us, giving us a big piece of chicken.
On your birthday though, you don't get it every time. On your birthday. Or Father's Day.
Yeah, Father's Day, you get the big piece of chicken.
Yep, it's all about fellowship.
Yeah.
What I've experienced and what I've went through, you got to be able to share your experience and your knowledge, pass it on, because you'll be surprised the things that you went through, how they can help someone else. So if you're not willing to share that, keeping it all bottled up within you, it ain't doing nobody no good.
Yeah.
So fellowshipping is all is.
You not only help you, but you help, like you said, you help not only help other people, but it helps you. Like,
Right.
You don't even realize it. By
Yeah.
talking about that, you feel better.
Yeah, and it's a form of therapy.
It is.
It is a form of therapy, because now you're letting everything out
Right.
that you were bottling up, holding in.
Sometimes you need a place to vent,
Yeah.
somebody to vent to. Like I said, just get it all out.
Yeah, but like we said earlier, therapy is not a bad thing.
No.
I say this almost in every podcast, but I actually went to therapy, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. But I pushed against it, pushed back for years. Until I got to a point, I was like, I want to talk to someone. Then COVID hit, which was a great thing, because now I can do it on a telephone. Nobody knows nothing. I can be as raw as I want to be.
Right?
Who cares who you tell? They don't know me. But yeah.
You know what I think happens with black men too, or just people, adults in general. But I'm going to say in particular black men. I think that we're afraid to hold that mirror up to ourselves.
Yeah. Oh. Ooh.
You know what I mean? We know what we've doing, what we've done, what we think, how we feel. But to actually have it, to put it out there, then to have to deal with it, that's hard. Man,
Yeah.
Because it's going to be some painful stuff in there. Right. There's a lot of men around here with daddy issues and mommy issues, and they'll never talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm 63 years old, and I had them, and my father's dead. We can't even fix it.
Right.
But I've had them all my life. I'm not ashamed to say that I had those, and it wasn't rectified throughout our lives, although we interacted later, but it did not rectify all those embedded feelings that I had. Right. Although I tried to express them, you know, he couldn't articulate his feelings. Right. So now it's a one way. Now I'm pouring out, and I'm not getting anything back.
You're not getting
and
back.
the thing that one thing that and actually it was me, him, and my son. We were riding in my car. We had visited South Carolina. And we were out in Dylan Roof. Remember
The shooter.
The shooting.
The shooter.
So we were visiting that church.
Wow.
Just outside. I mean, I try to give him all the experiences, you know, that I can. And so we were riding in the car, and we were just talking. And he said, I don't remember how we got to this point, but what he said, he talked about staying in your place. I'm like, that mentality has to move because staying in my place is anywhere my money could take me. You know, now I understand that there's some areas that will receive me and won't. I do understand that, but you know, I'm going to go where I want to go.
Right.
You know, I mean, some places I'm going to, you know, keep my head on the swivel, but I am going if I want to go there, and that's not only just in neighborhoods that are not like us. Some of our neighborhoods, I'm like, somebody, nah. I'll get back with you on that one. But and on the same topic, I had one of the guests on, and his wife came to me, and she said, I really appreciate what you're doing. When he comes home when he came home from your podcast, he was a different person. Wow. He was lighter. He was expressing himself. That to me was just valuable. I couldn't buy that.
That's why you turn these lights on right there. Stuff like that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's why I won't stop. Right. You know, and I'll give you some background. The reason I started this was back in 2017. I was 55 years old. And I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And so going through that, 7 years later, I mean, I always started talking about it and, you know, telling people. But 7 years later, it came to me and says, why don't you try to get it out to as many people as you can? Get the word out. Let you know, and that's what I've been doing. So I've been on a crusade trying to get the word out. And talking to everyone, being as raw and as frank as I can. Whatever you're afraid of, I try to combat it. I even bring doctors on to drive it home because I can give you my experience, but I can't give you the science behind it. You know? I found that I had prostate cancer, and it was devastating news. I was only 55. Christiana Care gave me options. I had a prostatectomy and radiation.
At Christiana Care, we are utilizing innovative technologies to deliver very precise radiation therapy like CyberKnife and VMAT to improve patient outcomes. But great care always starts first with compassion and understanding.
Dr. Rabin and the team made me feel at ease and explained everything in a way that I can understand. They were so kind and caring. I decided to be a part of a clinical trial because I knew it would help others.
Clinical trials can improve outcomes by offering patients access to advanced technologies and treatments that they otherwise would not be privy to at Christiana Care.
I am now on a crusade to get the word out. I created a podcast called The Lion's Den to share stories and talk about important men's health issues. Best advice? Go to the doctor. Get annual physicals. This could change everything as it did for me. I am now 63 and I feel great. Nothing is guaranteed, but we're all in this together. I'm glad that I had the Christiana Care team there when I needed them most.
Yeah. You know what? Can I jump back to something
Yes.
you said? So when you were saying about your dad saying stay in your place, I remember once I left Arkansas, and then when I would go back and visit, I would see how white people in the stores were like they would talk to my mother. Like I didn't recognize when I lived there
Yeah,
because
right,
it was
'cause
just the norm.
Right.
But as I became an adult and I would go back home and visit, I'd be like, who are you talking to?
yeah.
And my mom would be like, no, relax. Like, you know, them's a good white folk.
Right.
You know what I mean? I used to be like, the tone is off to me. I'm
Yeah.
grown now. And I don't
Right,
even know
right.
I'm away. I've experienced
Right,
different things
exactly.
now. So they used to like rub me the wrong way.
Yeah,
My mom be
yeah.
like, yo, you got to chill. You don't live here. You know what I'm saying? But they used to really rub me the wrong way. And then I'm going to tell you something really cold back to about the daddy-mom issue.
Yeah.
I found out my biological father wasn't my biological father at my mom's wake.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You know how the family secrets come out when
Yeah,
somebody died?
Always at a funeral.
I was like, you know, you hear little things,
Yeah,
but no one, my siblings were like, my next oldest sibling is 8 years older than me. They're all, so they're like
Right.
60 and up now. So they were like teenagers when I was born, you know, or pushing, becoming teenagers.
Right.
So they knew like little stuff that they heard in our town. But I grew up to believe that we all had the same father.
Right, yeah.
And come to find out, God bless the dead, my cousin Kat, we were at my mom's viewing. It was at the end, and me and her sitting on the front pew, and my mom's body's like right there where your table is. Like we're just talking, and she said, "Yeah, this is the third funeral I've been to this year." I was like, "Dang," you know. I said, "This is the first funeral I've been to since my dad died." Now, my dad, James Isabel, that's all I know.
Right.
So she said, "You went to Elijah Morris's funeral?" I said, "What?" She said, "You went to Elijah Morris's funeral?" I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "Boy, ain't nobody told you." Then she just stopped talking.
Right.
I'm 26. My mom was literally taking this to her grave. And literally, she's dead. She's just not in the ground yet. So we go outside. My oldest sister, I go to her. I said, "Kat just told me blah, 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 blah." This I knew was definitely true. My sister was looking at me after I finished talking. She just turned and made a beeline to Kat across the parking lot.
Yeah.
And I started going back and forth. I was like, So then that weekend, I really, everything just kind of came out. And my oldest brother said, "Man, listen, Mama had told us we should never ever say nothing." But he said, "That let's show up, it was your dad."
Now here's the thing, though. Your name's Elijah.
Eli, so my initials are Eli. So my friends just called me Eli growing up.
Oh,
Those are my
okay.
initials. Yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, but what a coincidence.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, man. So them family
Yeah,
secrets,
family
bruh.
secrets.
Always come
Yeah.
out during the funeral.
And that takes me to another topic too, in terms of our health.
Right.
Because if we're going to take a holistic approach, we have to know our health. We have to know our history.
That's right.
So that's why it's important to know who your family is, so that you know. You go to a doctor and they say, "Well, did your father have X, Y, and Z? Did your mom have?"
Yeah.
You don't want to be in there saying, "I don't know."
Right.
Now, and if you are at that place, you let the buck stop there, where now your children may know from your history where to go.
Where to go.
They can't go further back, but they could start here,
Start.
and they know what the things that you've gone through.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
But it's important for us to know.
You know, piggybacking on that is, I come from a very, very large family. I've got 13 brothers and 6 sisters.
So y'all
And-
raised yourself.
Pretty much. My older brothers and older sisters, you know, they did a lot of the cooking. They helped me out with different things, taught me different things. Used to beat me up all the time for no reason until I started getting a little bit older and a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
And my brother Larry, he would always pick on me for no reason whatsoever.
That's
But
Larry.
I didn't know the history of my father. Although he was always there, to me, he never really got sick. I didn't know any kind of ailment that he had.
Right.
And I was always walking around, you know, like I said, 22 years in the military. I had that big S on my chest. I'm invincible. Out of all 13 boys, I'm the first person in my family that had prostate cancer. So some people will say it's hereditary, you know. You need it, like it said, you need to know the history of your family.
Right.
But for me, I'm I'm starting something new here. You know, like I said, all my other 12 brothers, nobody suffered from prostate issues. So here I am, but I tell my kids, you know, I got 4 kids, and I tell my son, this is what's going on. You know, you got a history of high blood pressure in your family. You got a history of diabetes in your family.
Right.
So now that you know, you can take preventive measurements and hopefully keep yourself healthy, that you won't go down the same path that I did. Me being a diabetic, and diabetes is a tough disease because you think you can take a break. But as your A1C goes up and down, because you decide to take a break, it's hurting you inside, your organs, your kidney, your liver, and sharing some things, your eyesight. Now I'm at a point now to where I'm getting monthly injections to where you sitting there looking up, and here comes this needle that's sticking you in your eye. And what it is, it shrinks the blood vessels in your eyes so that it won't burst. Otherwise, you would lose your eyesight. You know, about 6 months ago, when I started the treatment, the doctor examined me. He looked into my eye. He had a clipboard in his hand. He slammed the clipboard on the table. He said, your eyesight is the worst I've ever seen. He said, I won't be surprised tomorrow morning you wake up and you can't see out of your right eye. And he said, your left eye probably only have another week of eyesight.
Wow.
You know, now they got my attention. So now I'm gonna start doing the things that I supposed to been doing a long time ago. When I wanted to take a piece of that cake or eat some ice cream, and like I said, you think, okay, I've got time to play with, but like I said, as your A1C goes up and down, and your glucose level is going up and down, instead of staying on that straight and narrow, you're hurting yourself. And so, like I said, I took a point in the devotion into my life that I need to get myself straight and keep myself that way, so I could be around for my kids and my grandkids.
That's what it's all about. And that's where the holistic approach comes in, because what that does, another part of it is the doctor told me that exercise is the number one medicine.
Number one medicine.
Number one. So you got to get up, be active, and be moving.
Yes.
And do the things, you know, we go to these doctors now. I'm on the fence about chemical medicines, you know, because you read it, it has all of these other side effects, you know.
Right.
So I'm like, well, then if I have all these side effects, it could destroy my liver and my kidneys. But I'll just use this for an example. But my blood pressure is right on point. And I'm like, what good is that?
Right.
You know, so I think what it is going back to the way we were designed. We were designed as hunters and gatherers. So you'd go out and you'd say kill a deer, a buck, a elk, whatever. And now you've traveled away from your village. You don't have a car or anything. You have to take that buck or elk back. So you're carrying it.
You're right.
So that's where your physical fitness is a part of, because now you're carrying things. Can you carry, you know, a load? And that helps the body, because now you're using every muscle in your body to carry that load back. So we could go back to that and do more of a carry type exercise. You know, because there's just this joke out, are you gym strong or you strong? You know what I mean? So to the gym strong guy, he just look all buff, but he can't do nothing. But a strong guy, he might not look buff, but he can carry a load.
That's right.
You know, so you know, we just got to take control of our lives.
We do.
We do. So why do you think I mean, we touched on it. Why do you think we're so afraid to express ourselves?
I'm not really sure why. The sad part about it, like I said, it's just a normal thing. I think within black men don't want to express our opinion, and it doesn't come until later when you learn that it's okay to express yourself. Me being in the military and being a senior in the military, I had to talk to a lot of my subordinates and soldiers to keep them on that straight and narrow. Their parents entrusted me to look after their daughter or look after their son. So I found myself being that role model and speaking to them and talking to them and counseling them. And so that helped me kind of start opening up, because everybody can tell you in my family, my dad was very, very quiet. My brothers, they all pretty much have the same attitude. I'm very quiet. And until, almost like in management, it's called a Jehovah window. There is the hidden, the unknown, the known. So as those blocks, when you first meet me, I don't express myself that often. I'm not going to open up like a flower. But as you get to know me, I'm expressing myself a little bit more. I'm starting to open up. But normally, like I said, I'm a very, very quiet person. But it's just, I think once we start feeling comfortable around someone, then we can express ourselves a little bit more.
Yeah. Great. I think for most black men and black people in general, I think that we're afraid of judgment. Think about the conversation that the average men, when they get together, they have. We're either talking about sports or women. We don't go too deep. It's very surfacey because it's a safe zone for us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like you said, you have to be really comfortable to share something with one of your partners. Or even, like, if you've ever shared something with a woman and then she threw it back in your face later, or told people, and that's a whole different level of embarrassment. That'll shut you down from expressing yourself. So I think it's a judgment thing, and we'd rather carry that all around, and that's a load on your mind, on your body, your physical, like everything. That's a load you carry around, and I think it's just safer to carry around and walk around with that load and that stress than to put ourselves out there verbally. And not to mention, most of us don't have problem-solving skills. I think about back in the day, I used to see people say there was a fender bender. Oh, you hit my shit. Now you got to get out. You want to fight this person. But you got insurance. I have insurance. What are we about to fight for? Like, we don't have problem-solving skills. I see the little kids I work with. They get mad, and the first thing they do is hit or attack. There's no, and I see adults do the same thing because you don't know how to express yourself. So you lash out. We're afraid of judgment, and we don't have problem-solving skills. So, because we like problem-solving skills, then we're going to have to do what we got to do.
It's that learned behavior.
It's all learned behavior, man, and it's crazy. So,
So either we shut down or we lash out.
So
how do we change that mindset, though?
This,
absolutely.
Getting the word out, and people seeing their brothers talk about their feelings, and or just expressing the fact that they're not afraid to talk about it. And I really applaud black men. Like, more recently, like I said, black men are in therapy more than ever. Probably in the last 10 to 15 years. They're in there sometimes in there BSing. And they're trying to save their marriage. And this is what I got to do. But back in the day, think about it. I ain't going to no counseling. We going to be together. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So we have rounded the corner to a degree. So I will say that. I'm happy about that part.
And I think this is a forum, things like this, to actually change that mindset. And also the way we teach our children. Because, I grew up in a time where parents would tell you, do as I say. Not as I do, because I said so, those things like that. So I gave my kids a chance to express themselves. I mean, sometimes to my detriment, but because I didn't like what they said. But anyway, and back to Bancroft, because you said you taught at Bancroft.
Internship.
Internship.
I ain't even.
Okay.
One
So-
semester.
One semester you were out. Well, my son went to Bancroft.
Oh, really?
And Bancroft, yes. Bancroft is a school where there's no recess, right? It's gated, right? Is that the one? Was it Bancroft?
Did they? I don't remember a playground. I don't remember.
Yeah.
There was. I think they went to the playground that was there was a playground behind the school, maybe like closer to is that Church for Spruce, whatever. There's like a community. I think they use a community playground.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
But I think at
I'm talking like '93 when I was there.
okay.
So
So I said that to say, and I showed how I gave him a avenue to express himself. So he started getting in trouble. I was like, "What is your problem, boy?" You know. So he said, "Dad, I could only be good but for so long." He said, "And we don't have any recess." And you know, when he said that, I'm like, "Okay, well, that does make sense because you need
That
an
outlet.
outlet,
You need to get
especially kids." You know, because I know how I was as a kid. Like, what you laughing at?
you know too.
We grew up together.
But anyway, back to the topic. You know, so that's what I think we need to do to help. We need to, you know, work on ourselves. You know, we talked about the man in the mirror. You got to look at that man in the mirror, and you know, I think if you're not true to yourself and you look at that mirror, you can't really look at it. You know, you find yourself looking away. You know, because you're not true to who you are. So we need to all work to get to the point where we can look in the mirror and love that person staring back and know that you're doing justice for that person that's staring back at you. You know, you gotta do that, man.
And we can't be afraid to express ourselves.
Not at all.
You know, every time I get off the phone with my son or my kids, you know, I tell them I love you. You know, but when I was coming up, I didn't hear those
Never
words.
heard that.
Yeah. Well.
But now that I'm the man or I'm the father, like I said, every time I'm talking to my son on the phone or one of my daughters, you know, we exchange, I love you, you know, and to let them know you are loved and you're being loved, and, you know, it's not a crime to express yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of times what we lack, we try to find in other places. And a lot of times people are taken advantage of because they would stay in a situation that they should leave because they don't want, because they're getting what they missed, or they think that what they're receiving is what they deserve.
Right.
So we need to teach them that, no, you deserve to be respected. And once you're in love with yourself, or you're self-controlled or self-taught or self-aware, you're not going to let anyone just take advantage of you, one. And two, well, the most important for me, I think, is that you're now able to love someone or give of yourself because you're so sure that love that you give is going to be pure.
It's gonna be,
the advice that you give is going to be pure because it's coming from a pure place.
Right.
You know who you are. You're secure in your manhood, in who you are, so that when you deliver, all of your other relationships will be better. You know, all of them. So do you guys have routines, you know, for your doctor visits and?
You know, being in the military and being on a military installation, my doctor, Dr. Kite, shout out to him, he stayed on me in reference to making sure when I turned 45, you know, you're supposed to have a colonoscopy. You need to check your PSA. Anything dealing with the health, you know, he was on it. So he made me aware of other things that I knew I needed to go through. And so those were my routine. So now I know I need to get up and go to the gym. You know, I'm retired now, so I don't have nothing but time. So I go to the gym at least 3 to 4 times a week, get about an hour or two of exercise in, try to eat healthy, and just kind of go from there. That's pretty much my routine.
Yeah, my physical is in November, my yearly, and then I have my prostate exam in February. So next year the prostate exam, I can just get the blood work. You know, they every other on you now. Things are normal. Right? So I this past February I had to get the physical part.
Right.
But I think that stops a lot of men too. The negative image or connotation of actually getting a prostate exam.
Yeah.
That's very important. And my brother has been in remission for about 10 years now.
Okay.
He had prostate cancer, so God bless him. He's doing great. But so around the time he got it, that's when I was like, all right, I need to start probably going. Because I'll go get a physical, but I wasn't getting the process. I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. You know what I mean? You know how we do, man. We just stupid. Yeah. And then, if you're around some older black men, they never go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Never.
And so people just suffer, or they'll go and they'll get the medication and not take it. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's insane. Like, you have this blood pressure medicine you're supposed to take. Now, you've had a stroke because you didn't take your medicine. You didn't you didn't do anything different. You just went to the doctor and got the medicine. So I've learned from watching my brother go through what he went through and then other people's mistakes. So, since about 45, I've been pretty consistent with the doctor, man. I don't want to play. I want to be around here for a little longer.
Yes,
I don't have
sir.
any grandchildren or anything yet, so I want to, I want to see things through as long as I can, man.
Yes.
That's important. And I walk about 3 or 4 times a week, 4 miles, and then every Saturday I walk this morning because I had this, but on Saturdays I typically ride my bike the trail from Battery Park to Wilmington, and then I'll come back and I'll go to New Orleans and have me a beer to reward myself. I throw the bike on back of my truck and come on back home.
Yeah, all right. Sounds good.
That's my little Saturday thing. If me and the old lady ain't got nothing to do.
Nice routine.
Yeah, man. I sit there and have me a blue moon and go on to the house.
Yeah, man, that's good though. But yeah, going to the doctor is very important, and I take a 3-pronged approach. Your regular physical doctor, your eye doctor, and the dentist. Now, it's weird that everything is connected because your dentist could then tell you about dementia from looking at my teeth, and or you've already touched on the eyes. My eye doctor told me that he had a couple patients come in. He looked in their eyes and sent them to the doctor because he could see it. And he also told me a little background. He said that's the only place that he could see your blood vessels without opening your body.
Your eyes?
Your eyes.
Yep.
Wow.
If you ever remember looking at that eye chart when you go to the eye doctor, you see all those
the little lines and veins.
So it's crazy. He could just look in there and tell you what's happening with you.
Tell you about to have diabetes. He all kind of stuff.
Exactly.
No, you don't want that either.
Man.
Yeah, but like I said earlier, I had a few doctors on there, and go back to those episodes because those doctors really gave us some really good advice. When I was diagnosed, I became a part of a clinical trial. So they gave me less visits, but more radiation and so on. But in those trials, it may not help me, but it could help others. And that's kind of what it is. I got 2 boys, so I want to make sure that they're straight. So those things. But the 3 doctors I had on was Dr. Masters. He's a urologist, but he's head of clinical trials. Dr. Rabin, he's a radio oncologist. They're all heads of their department, which is actually a pretty good feat for this podcast only being out there for actually we might just be stepping on 18 months. But I've already had 3 heads of, and the last doctor, heads of departments. And my last doctor was my urologist, Dr. Mitchell, and he is the head of urology at Christiana Care, which is our local hospital.
That's big.
Yeah.
And with him.
Yeah.
That's good.
He came here.
Yeah.
The other 2 I had to go out to Christiana. He came in. He said he was sitting right there, Clayton.
Wow.
Wow, that's good. That's good stuff.
Yes. So, any final thoughts for the audience?
I'll just say, like you said, everything starts with mental health. and how it affects your body, don't be afraid to get the help that you think you need. And sometimes we don't see it. And if there's somebody that you love and trust, and they're saying, hey man, I kind of see you going down this road or spiraling here, listen to the people that you know for a fact that love you and have your best interests at heart. And that's whether mental health, physical health, monetarily. If you out here, you out here 55 and you just running through your money, and you gotta live. You trying to live another 30 years. It's just so many areas in life that we all need to have a OG that can kind of pull us up and says, hey, whether it be mental health, physical health, or money perspective, like just keep us on point. And I definitely have one of those for myself.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
So a mentor.
A mentor. I'm 52 and I have a mentor. And I tell people that's okay. You know what I mean? We all need somebody.
Yeah, we all need somebody. You need somebody to talk to, somebody you can trust. Because you don't want to go out and be raw and tell them all your business, and then you go back to your friend group and everybody's whispering.
Right.
That's not what you want.
Right.
You want someone that you could talk to and you know that it's going to stay with them, and you're going to get some sound advice.
Absolutely.
Or a listening ear, even if that's all you need.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Give you what you need.
Right.
Exactly.
A platform for you just to come and vent.
Yeah.
And just
And to call you out when you're wrong.
yeah, absolutely.
My OG
Yeah.
is 70, so he's not running with no group of people he's going to tell my business.
Right,
He said,
right,
boy,
right.
you was wrong right there. You said, why would you do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Sometimes,
yeah,
because
yeah.
my dudes my age, be
Check.
like, yeah, bro,
Yeah.
I can do it.
check.
So,
why it's going
it's checks
check.
and balances, man. Yeah.
And Clayton?
And like I mentioned when I first started the podcast, the book of Psalms 133rd, behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. This is what it's all about. Sitting down with one another, talking to one another, sharing of their experience that you have experienced, because you're going to get something out of it. We don't know what life has in store for us, but if you're well prepared for that next adventure, you'll be a better person. Like I said, just everybody need a mentor. Whether it's your grandfather, whether it's your father, or maybe it's an older friend of yours, or maybe even someone your age that has been through some things. So that experience from others will help you, and you can't be afraid to communicate. Communication is 9/10 of the law. If you can be an effective communicator and talk to one another and give that person that leadership and guidance that they may need, everybody overall will be fine, and you'll be fine.
Yes, absolutely. That was great. Now, this platform, my goal for this platform is huge. I want to take this to different venues and have forums where men are coming and talking. Eli, you said you're in mental health.
Yeah.
That is strong. I throughout this podcast, and actually, this has to be God's intervention because I always talked about having a mental health person. I had a holistic person on. I've had doctors on to talk about it, and the last piece of that was a mental health person. And lo and behold, he sends me one.
Right.
He sends me one. So what I said that to say, when this platform grows, I'm going to lean on you, brothers. I'd like to ask you, brothers, to be with me on this journey, so that we together. Because I told you I'm on a crusade, and I want you guys to come along with me.
Amen.
I'm with you.
Okay. And again, I really thank you. And then, in one of the last things I'm gonna say before we begin closing is, my son called me, maybe a week or so ago. He'd just viewed a podcast, The Pivot. You guys know that?
Yep.
And this is the episode with Steve Harvey on it.
Okay.
And he almost brought me to tears, man. So Steve Harvey was talking about the loss of his father. And when his father passed, his father didn't, he realized that he wasn't going to have anyone to tell him that he was proud of him and how he's missed him, right? So he called me to give me my flowers while I was alive, how much he appreciated you know, how I poured into his life. You know, and
awesome.
and wasn't just me pouring into watching him grow and becoming the person who he is.
Who he is.
Was also rewarding for me.
Absolutely. Right.
So together it was a give and take. Again, like I said, I gave him the free reign to express himself.
Yeah.
But now you gotta know how to express yourself. Now you just can't be out there, you know what I mean? But you know, gave him free reign to express himself, and that came back, and you know that really made me feel proud.
That's what's up. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You've done well. You've done your job.
Job well done.
I'm still out here trying though.
Well
Oh,
done.
it never ends. I'm finding out. I got a 26-year-old. It never ends.
Yeah, exactly.
Well done, my good and faithful servant. Well done.
The way I see it, if we want a rainbow, we have to go through the rain. A measure of a true friend is they would stand in the rain with you, even though they have a choice to stand where it's dry.
Wow.
If you don't take care of your wellness, you'll be forced to take care of your illness. I'll say that again. If you don't take time for your wellness, you'll be forced to take time for your illness. Now let that marinate. And I'm gonna take a stronger step. If you don't take time to check in, you may check out. What a glorious day. Take a moment to breathe. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'm Renard. Peace.